Hello and welcome to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1. It is Thursday, the 10th of November.
And we're scraping the bottom of the television barrel. I got the call once again to fill in for Tommy Bowe. I was walking in this morning and Margaret on security said to her, "No Tommy today?" She said, "You're bigger than Tommy." And I don't know if she meant that in a good way.
In a good way or a bad way?
Or a bad way.
Can we take it in the good way? Can we take it as though it's that?
Do you know what? I'll take it. I'll only get it in about an hour once I've woken up.
International rugby publications in Australia write about you as well, don't they?
How tall is Tommy?
Totally fine.
Is he taller than me?
I don't know. I feel like I'm choosing a favourite child. I think you're about the same height.
I'm favourite, Mammy.
I love them both equally. Now, coming up on the show today, we're going to be hearing from the Clare supermarket owner who received that now infamous €20,000 electricity bill for just 1 month.
That's coming up also. He makes bakers weak at the knees with a simple handshake. Paul Hollywood will be here to chat about his first cookbook in 5 years.
And I'm going to ask him why there's been so much cooking on the show and not bacon. What's that about?
Oh, right. Oh, on
a lot of
Bake
cooking
Off.
on bacon.
Yeah. Cook off instead of bake off.
We'll chat about it in a while. If you've got some annual leave left to take and fancy a getaway, we'll be discovering some walking experiences across the country a little bit later on.
And now a first of its kind is set to take place in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork. And Deric is there to find out. Reveal all. Deric, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, team. We're along the lee side here this morning, coming to you live from Páirc Uí Chaoimh down in Cork. And what a wet, what a windy start we have out there this morning. Some heavy rain later on today, especially to the west-northwest, with some strong to gale force southerly winds as well. But as you mentioned, Ray, what a day down here for Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's his first time ever to host a rugby game. We've the might of Munster taking on a South Africa select side. And what a lineup we have coming to you here from Páirc Uí Chaoimh this morning. We're going to be having a preview of the game coming your way at 7:35. Then we're going to be catching up with former Munster and Ireland player Frankie Sheahan. Diarmuid O'Sullivan, three-time All-Ireland Cork winner, will be joining us as well for a cup of Barry's, and we'll be catching up with the Sunday Wells mixed ability rugby team. So that's all to come live from Páirc Uí Chaoimh. We're hoping for a Munster win later on this evening, and of course it's my birthday today, so that will be a nice present.
Rick, happy birthday!
We're sending Colin the Caterpillar cake to Cork.
Absolutely. Oh, the big tray bake from
24.
Dunn's. That's what we need.
Happy birthday, man.
Oh, I hope we'll get someone
Thanks,
balloons.
guys.
If you're going past Páirc Uí Chaoimh, we'll sort you out. We'll sort you out in just a little while, Deric. Oh God, he's put us in it there now.
I do feel bad.
Terrible.
Yeah, didn't have
feel
Deric's
bad. Well,
birthday
we're going to
marked
sort it out.
in
We're
the
going to sort it
calendar.
out. He didn't tell us. And remember, our coverage of Munster and South Africa will be live on Virgin Media 2 from 6:30 this evening. A present to Cork in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, can we make it before 10 a.m?
I don't know.
Let's see if we can make it happen. Now, let's find out what kind of world we're waking up to for your Thursday morning. It's over to Anne O'Donnell at the Virgin Media News Hub.
Thanks, Ray. Good morning. Well, the Taoiseach Micheál Martin is set to discuss the Northern Ireland Protocol with the new UK Prime Minister when they meet in the UK today. Mr Martin begins a 2-day visit to the UK today, during which he is set to travel to Manchester and Blackpool. In the US, counting is ongoing in the midterm elections with the Senate on a knife edge. The Republican Party is expected to win the House of Representatives. However, the race to control the Senate is tighter than had been expected.
Well, it is a new day once again here in Washington, but we are not really much closer to figuring out where the balance of power lies in the Houses of Congress. It does seem that the Republicans are set to take the House of Representatives, although we may still be some time away from final results there. The Senate going right down to the wire with key races still to look out for in Nevada, Arizona and Georgia, which will go to a runoff next month, which could decide the overall majority. The Biden White House last night trying to tread the line between acknowledging that there are a lot of angry Americans who are upset at the handling of the economy and the way things are going with inflation, and trying to stick it to perhaps the naysayers and doom and gloom merchants, as they would see it, who said that the Biden White House was now on its last legs heading into what was supposed to be a red wave with sweeping Republican victories. Joe Biden himself delivering some remarks in the White House last night. Here's a little of what he had to say.
While we don't know all the results yet, at least I don't know them all yet, here's what we do know. While the press and the pundits are predicting a giant red wave, it didn't happen.
Well, Mr. Biden's predecessor also not staying silent yesterday. Donald Trump on his own social network site, Truth Social, trying to say that despite the fact that there was some disappointing elements of the results for the Republican Party in the midterm elections, he and the candidates that he had backed had done so well, which doesn't really bear out in actual fact. A lot of Republicans soul-searching about how badly candidates backed by Donald Trump did in this election. Really, there was the wisdom at this point is saying that if Donald Trump didn't put his hand on the scale so much, perhaps the red wave might have materialised. But as I say, quite a long time to go until we get full and final results here. But the Biden administration feeling quite cheerful about its path forward to delivering a key legislation on things like climate change and on military support for Ukraine.
Storm Nicole has been sweeping across the Bahamas, gathering strength, and is forecast to hit the US in the coming hours. Florida is now bracing for a rare November hurricane, shutting down airports and prompting an evacuation order.
The impact of Tropical Storm Nicole has already been felt as it approaches Florida. It's now on course to make landfall as the first hurricane to strike the US so late in the year in over 40 years. People along Florida's east coast have been bracing for impact, and the threat of a direct hit has led to mandatory evacuations in parts of the state's Palm Beach. Some residents are only recovering from the impact of Hurricane Ian 6 weeks ago. They must now try to secure their properties again.
Winds are the main concern with Nicole, but we also expect to see some heavy rains, the potential for flash flooding, and 3 to 5 feet of storm surge in some areas. Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, Brevard, and Volusia counties are currently under a hurricane warning.
Orlando International Airport and other airports across the state are closing until the worst of the storm passes. Many schools in the state will stay closed today. Storm Nicole is expected to bring torrential rain and strong gusts, and forecasters say it will deliver sustained wind speeds of at least 70 miles per hour. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
Russia says it's retreating from the west bank of the Dnipro River in a key southern region of Kherson. The move came after a Russian commander said that it was impossible to deliver supplies to the city of Kherson and other areas on the western bank.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. A very good morning to you at home, or if you're indeed streaming online on the player. We're coming to you live here from Páirc Uí Chaoimh, down in the heart of Cork City here this morning. A big match later on tonight with the might of Munster taking on a South Africa select side. History being made here on these hallowed grounds as well. First time ever a rugby match being played here on Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and of course live coverage kicking off on Virgin Media 2. That's the build-up from 6:30 later on this evening, and what a game it promises to be. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Martin Rigney on cameras and Alan Poole on sound. And I have to say, it's a wet start once again down here in Munster. Plenty of rain now hitting Cork, Kerry, into parts of Limerick, through northern areas of Tyrone and into Derry and South. County Dublin not escaping either. So this is the kind of gear you'll need to get on if you are heading out about, although drier elsewhere. But you will notice quite mild, quite windy in those fresh and blustery southwesterly winds. Now, right across today, we're going to see rain pull in across the country. Again, it's going to lean on the heavy side. Keep an eye on Cork through the northwest. That's where the heaviest of that rain will lie. We could see a risk of localised spot flooding, a little bit of surface water on roads, so take her handy if you're out and about, but still holding very, very mild for this time of year. Top values for the 10th of November at 14 to 17 degrees. Finally then, tonight it looks like rain once again for those Atlantic coastal counties across southern sections. Elsewhere it will turn patchy in nature, with some drizzle expected across the hills, and again quite windy with gale force winds once again from the south to break us into tomorrow morning, with overnight lows back to around 9 to 14 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up down here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork at the moment. A little bit of a wet start, and we'll catch you back live 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. Coming up on Ireland AM, small businesses all over the country are struggling with the rising costs of living.
We'll be speaking to one of the supermarket owners who has recently received an energy bill for a massive €20,000. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Now, you probably might have seen this. A small business owner in County Clare made headlines after receiving a shocking electricity bill for the month of November. It was €20,000.
Unbelievable. Flora Crowe joins us to discuss this along with Business Post editor Lorcan Allen. You're both very welcome. And we'll start with you, Flora. We saw this absolutely astronomical figure. You shared it on your Twitter. You're the owner of a small family-run shop in 6 Mile Bridge, and it was 20 grand. What was your reaction when you got that notification? They had been going up and up, had they?
Yeah, they've been slowly going up. So I suppose last October, November, we came out of our contract, and we were expecting a small increase, but we weren't expecting that. So in commercially, you have to kind of fix every year or so. And then I suppose the markets were in a bit of turmoil, and you had the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So nobody was willing to fix for us. So thinking about April or May, we peaked at about 46 cents. It was a very kind of slow, kind of gradual process, and we were on the variable rates, it was up and down. So then I was given the opportunity to fix it in June at 40 cents. Now we had been previously on 19. So I kind of grabbed it with both hands. We didn't really get a bill then until September. And not that I wasn't expecting it, I definitely wasn't expecting it, but I kind of thought it was the first one. This is a flash in the pan. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we've paid now anyway. And then in November, here comes another bill. And then the realization kind of set in. Okay, we had this bill in November. We're going to have one in January. We're going to have again one in March. It's sustainable, I suppose. And, no matter how big our sales are, we'll never be able to pay those bills because they're just completely off the wall. In business, you kind of have your two major overheads are your employer costs or your labour costs, and then your electricity. So even before the electricity crisis or the energy crisis, you'd always be watching your energy. But they're gone so big now that I suppose, we can't afford to pay these things. And the government have been, have a new scheme coming at the end of the month, and we welcome it. But unfortunately, for small family businesses, it just does not go far enough because we don't have the backing of big corporations or, I suppose, parent companies that have the profits to pay these. Our store is the same as every other store up and down the country in every town. We're small family businesses. We're the heart of the community. We've a fantastic business. We have a fantastic community. We're very well supported. But no matter how many breakfast rolls we sell, we'll never, ever be able to pay those bills because they're astronomical.
It's not like you're a massive multinational and you're being bankrolled by an external or a huge, massive company on the outside. You're just a small shop trying to do a bit of business.
Yeah, and we're services as well, and we're electricity dependent. We have delis, we have ovens, and we have to provide those services. And rural Ireland is the exact same up and down the country. We're services, we're small family businesses. And that's what I suppose I'm here calling for, is for the government to make special exemptions and to provide extra subsidies to small family businesses, because nobody wants to go back to 2010 where there was massive job losses. We're not in that frame of mind. We need the help from the government now. We were very fortunate during COVID, I suppose, that we didn't need any wage supports. We didn't need any government assistance. But our time is now, and if the government don't step in and help small family businesses, it will decimate rural Ireland. You can see it yourself. Cafes are only open 2 and 3 days a week. Yeah. As a grocery store, there's no more we can do. Like, we brought down our consumption as much as possible, but that's it. And as a business, you always have increases. You've increases in labour, you've increases in overheads, and we're happy to accept those. But these electricity costs and these energy costs are so vast and so enormous that we have no hope of ever being able to pay it. And I suppose the days of cheap electricity are gone. And I suppose we need help from the government now to save rural Ireland and save small family businesses. We're the backbone of the local economy, and we employ so many people. Yeah. And we often don't get the waves in the news that, the multinationals of the world get, or not even the multinationals, the bigger chains,
of course,
that are in Ireland.
You've certainly put it out there. And if there's other business owners around the place that are independent business owners, we'd love to hear from you this morning. 0896 111 111. If we can bring you in, Lorcan, because we've just heard Flora there saying that the government have to get involved, that they need a new... Now, at the end of this month, there is, of course, going to be the Temporary Business Energy Support Scheme, which is meant to pay 40% of people's bills. But if you're talking about that, a €20,000 bill, which is from last year, I think Flora's bill was about 3,500. Are we going to see businesses going to the wall because of these energy bills and what's being said is a global thing that's out of our control?
Certainly, I think we could probably see a lot of challenges this winter. This winter is going to be very difficult for an awful lot of businesses, particularly SMEs like Flora there, who just don't have the cash flow or the financial firepower to maybe offset some of these increases. And as Flora said there, she was fixing her electricity prices during the summer. But electricity companies tend to buy their energy 6 months in advance. So the prices that businesses would have fixed or during the summer, they're being hit with them now. And unfortunately, these bills are going to last for November, December, January and February. Now, the price of electricity has come down this month, but that won't be translating into people's bills until next March. And businesses, consumers are seeing, your average householder is seeing an increase in their bills, but it hasn't been fully passed on to the consumer. But businesses like Flora, they're getting the full whack of what's happening in the wholesale energy markets. And trying to absorb that sort of inflation, it is extraordinary. So I think we're looking into a very difficult winter, not just in Ireland, but right across Europe.
And you mentioned that in terms of the prices, have we seen the peak? I mean, is there a glimmer of hope at the end of it that we could be like next March or next year? It's a long way. It feels like a long way away at this stage, though.
Yeah, wholesale energy prices would have peaked in around August, September this year when the Russian invasion of Ukraine sent gas prices to their absolute highest. So our electricity here in Ireland, about 60% of our electricity is produced from natural gas. Mm-hmm. So we're very exposed to what's happening on international gas markets. On a windy day like today, the wind is free wind is powering the grid. So our electricity is very cheap today. So in 6 months' time, consumers will see that we'll have cheaper electricity. But the question is, when the winter months end and there's less wind on the grid, we'll be back to using natural gas next April, May and June. And then the price could go up again.
What's happening here, we're seeing in Europe that LNG, like liquefied gas, we've got too much of it. We've got no place to store it because they've bought so much of it in. We are talking about record profits still, like across the board for energy companies like that. Like I'm not losing my mind. They're still making the biggest profits, super profits that we've never seen before. So Flora, for someone like you, when you're hearing like these energy companies are making profits, the likes of which they have never, ever, ever seen before, whether they're taking advantage of a situation or not, is it time that the government, and indeed Europe, because there is talk of this windfall tax, they have to do something for people right now? Because I know that you have just said that you're calling for them to make subsidies greater for businesses.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think in the short term, the government definitely has to do more for small family businesses. But then I suppose green energy, or not even green energy, cheap electricity prices are never going to come back to what they were. So I think that, those energy companies should be mandated where they should be front-loading the cost of, green energy, renewables onto the businesses instead of us having to go to banks and pay back, interest rates, that the companies should be front-loading the costs. And I suppose we then sign into a contract with them. And, we're getting our green energy or we're getting our renewables, so we're going to bring down our costs. I think that's one way of it. I'm not too sure what else the government can do on energy companies, but I suppose they have to do something because, it's either going to be the energy companies or it's going to be all the small businesses are going to be gone in Ireland.
What you're saying there, is the windfall tax from Europe going to make a difference for people, Lorcan?
Well, it could make a difference. It could certainly leverage a lot of money. The government announced its business energy support scheme in the budget. They've said that that's going to their only policy intervention until the new year. They may look at things again. So for now, for small businesses and even large businesses, kind of what's on offer from the government at the moment, that's about it, really, unfortunately. There is a low-cost loan scheme that the government has opened. It's a 1.2 billion scheme. It's significant that if businesses are really struggling for liquidity and cash flow, they can apply for a 10-year loan at very low cost rates to try and get them through the event, and they don't need to put up any security or anything like that as part of the loan.
And that's another option as well. Listen, Flora, good luck. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, and Lorcan as well. Thanks for your time. Cheers.
We really do appreciate it. 0896 111 to get in contact with us. Still to come this morning, we're talking something completely different. Munster are taking on South Africa in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. We'll be looking ahead to that.
Yeah, big night. And we'll have a roundup of the stories making your morning newspapers this morning. Ireland AM. We'll be back after the break. Oh, exciting. Yeah, Deric is in Cork this morning to preview tonight's clash between Munster and South Africa.
Yeah, he was right there a second ago. And then we came back here to say hello to him again.
Hello, let's hand over to Deric. Hello,
Good
Deric.
morning.
Good morning. Connecting.
Yes, good morning, guys. It is a pretty wet start, unfortunately, down here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, down in County Cork. We're joined now for a preview of the match. Of course, a big match later on this evening as the mighty Munster take on South Africa select side. Joining us now, Gavin Casey from 42.ie, and of course, Leon Jordan, a former Cape Town player and coach. And Gavin, we'll start with you. What a historic night in store tonight.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time coming. A first ever rugby game at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Look, there's going to be 41,500 people in here later on today, which will be the biggest ever attendance for a game in this province.
Sold out crowd.
Sold out. It's been one of the toughest games I've ever come across to get a ticket for a Munster game. Leon actually found me hiding in the bins outside and just asked me to join him, so I'm lucky to be here. But no, it's one of those where there is a feeling of it being a landmark occasion, and I think as much as Leinster supporting friends will remind me that there are about 200,000 people that claim to have been at the Munster All Blacks game in 1978, it sets a precedent as well for potential returns here. Maybe an Interpro at Christmas against Leinster, or European knockout games where previously Munster would have had to go to the Aviva Stadium. Maybe this will be an avenue for them in future.
Now, Leon, a big win there at the weekend, a tight win for the Irish versus the Springboks, 16-19. Do you think that'll boost Munster this evening?
It sure will. They would look down, at the team sheet, that their own teammates around them, and know that they've picked a really, really good side, and they would definitely draw inspiration from the Irish side on the weekend. And I think it's a long time coming. Ireland has been #1 for a good while now, and you guys must just start believing it, and take it for what it is. You're a good side, and there's only really good days ahead if you consider that the strength and depth within Irish rugby, and it makes for a good game tonight, and the Munster side will 100% be up for it. There's a lot of reasons for them to really give everything. Like Evan said, a packed stadium is one, with 40,000 manning Munster fans behind you. It really lifts you, and it really brings out the best in you as well as a player. And there's certain key players within the Munster side that would feel left out and would want to prove a point and put their hands up tonight and show that they're worth the call up. So it makes for a great game.
But on the South African side, they have their paws all over Munster rugby. We have two former Munstermen in the lineup tonight. We have Thomas Detroit and Jason Jenkins, of course, Razzie Rasmus as well, the former director of rugby. They know Munster's rugby, don't they?
For sure, that's what we do. We send the spies out years ahead, and infiltrate from the inside, get inside knowledge. No, listen, there is a bit of knowledge, but again, nothing, on the night. You can know the playbook by hand, but you still got to come out and play who you're up against, and Munster will definitely be up for it. But yeah, the likes of Jenkins and Detroit would definitely know at least the ethos. They didn't spend a long time here, but they would know all about the courage and the mindset of the Munster team, and it makes for a great game.
Who's going to make a big impression tonight, Gav?
I'm personally hoping that some of the local guys actually do themselves justice. Obviously, Simon Zebo he owes Munster nothing at this point, given his contribution to the jersey.
Just down the road here in Blackrock.
Exactly, local guy, big Blackrock GAA enthusiast, and for him to line out at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the home of Cork GAA, I'm sure is a dream come true. And the same for Alex Condon, who's at the other side of his career, if you like. He's only 20-21 and starting out. He's going to come off the bench. His family business is around the corner from here. But it's also a massive day for Ben Healy at out half. Like, we've seen the conditions. Healy already has a nuclear right boot on him that's very useful when the wind is behind him. I reckon he could land one, nearly in Cork City if the wind continues. Yeah. So, the wind behind him. And he's under the cosh because Joey Carberry is Munster's #1 out half. Jack Crowley has now made a massive impression, and there's some conversation around him being involved with Ireland over the course of November. So a massive night for Ben Healy, and Munster are going to need those leaders in the team, Zebo and Healy and Condell, and a young leader to really stand up and be counted.
Anton Frisch getting his first one out as well.
What an occasion to do it on as well. He's a really talented guy. He's Irish qualified, and we hope that he might pull on the green jersey eventually, but let's see how he gets on in red firstly.
Yeah, so a big night, and of course Jack O'Sullivan, captain. Jack O'Donoghue, pardon me. Yeah.
Jack O'Donoghue, yeah. And listen, just reward, I think, for his contribution to the Munster jersey over the last couple of years. It's going to be an absolutely spine-tingling moment for him, I'd imagine, to walk out in front of 41,000 fans and lead an underdog side against this lad's boys in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Absolutely. And the one thing that's on our side tonight, is the weather, because the Springboks wouldn't be used to this type of weather, would they?
Yeah, you paid good money for this, I have to say. I'd say there's a lot of the lads who's going to stick their heads out the window this morning and want to go straight back to bed.
Yeah.
No, they won't be. Historically, this would really be, I suppose, foreign to them, the conditions. But you can say that, recently, especially in the last year or two with the URC, it has opened up, their horizons. They do play in Europe a little bit more, especially tonight's team. Most of them would be URC South African-based players touring here. So it's not, for a lot of them, it's not their first time, but at the same time, it is chilly, it is cold. It's not what they used to.
It's pretty wet. It's been raining here in Cork. Gav, call it.
Munster are a province associated with miracles, and I think they're going to need one. But,
I think the lack of cohesion is going to count against them in the first 40 minutes, but they will probably pull away at the end. I'd say South Africa by 12.
OK, and look, being a Limerick man, being a Munster man, we got the jersey on as well. There we go. So 2 against 1. Who knows who'll win, but it promises to be a fantastic night down here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Later on, live coverage, as we mentioned, over on Virgin Media 2, the build-up from 6:30. But for now, from a wet Cork, back to you guys in studio.
Fair play, Derek. Derek's already togged out.
Not even that. He was very strong on that. Who's going to win? Who's going to win there?
Yeah, call it.
That's what it is.
Now.
Gavin's jacket was... Liam was like, what's going on with Gavin's? Did you have that jacket the first time?
Well, between the two of them, they look like they're both togging out, actually.
They're both togging out.
He had the shell suit jacket.
I had that. I must have had something like that the first time around in like purple and pink. Love it. Love it.
Mine still fits. Yeah, from
sure, you were. There's no way you were cool enough to wear something like that. Not a hope in hell.
Actually true.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're taking a look at the stories making your front pages.
We'll see you back here very shortly. Back. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: SIPO will not investigate Varadkar over leak complaint. The state's ethics watchdog has said it will not investigate Tánaiste Leo Varadkar over the leak of a draft GP contract after a split vote between commissioners deciding on an inquiry.
Varadkar opens door to Fianna Fáil election transfer pact. That's on the front of the Irish Independent this morning. Tánaiste Leo Varadkar has raised the prospect of a transfer pact between Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil in the next general election.
The Examiner's front page: tech firms to stay in Ireland despite job cuts. Tech giants have assured the government that they remain committed to their Irish operations despite Facebook's expected layoff of up to 400 staff.
Target to build homes is skewed is the top story on the Daily Mail. Internal Housing Department documents say the number of houses needed in the country is drastically underestimated.
The Star's front page: Home Alone 4. Father left his children to fly across the world to visit a woman in Singapore in October 2016 and didn't return to Ireland until November 2020.
And the Herald goes with McGregor pub burglar gets jail term for crime spree. A sex offender who burgled Conor McGregor's pub and months later broke a Garda's arm after a high-speed chase has been jailed for 4.5 years.
The Mirror goes with that same story: McGregor pub raider caged.
And the Sun leads with my secret IVF battle. Friends star Jennifer Aniston has revealed for the first time her secret fight to be a mum.
Now, as you heard, tech firms look to be staying put in Ireland despite recent job losses.
Joining us with that story and everything making the news is political correspondent with the Irish Examiner, Ciara Phelan. Ciara, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And the top story: Facebook this morning, and up to 400 is the number we're seeing of potential layoffs in Ireland.
I know it's desperate news for those employees who are actually still waiting to hear who is losing their job. Obviously, we heard yesterday, and there has been other tech giants have announced job cuts in recent days, like Stripe and Twitter, but essentially Meta, its parent company Facebook, is expected to lay off between 350 and 400 jobs. Obviously Meta and Facebook have been in contact with the government on this, in particular the Tánaiste, who's responsible. His department is Enterprise, Trade and Employment, and essentially employees are waiting to hear when they may lose their job. Now, globally, it's 11% of the workforce, so that's how we're coming to the conclusion of the figure of between 350 and 400, and then it's affecting the full-time workers. Facebook does have, I think, 6,000 contractors through a third party, but they're not affected at all. But it's the full-time workers,
the full-time employees with all the rights that goes with being a full-time employee that is going to be laid off.
That's it, yeah. So
there was a lot that was said. They increased their workforce globally by a huge amount in the past year.
So this is what Mark Zuckerberg has said. So in 2 years, they increased their workforce by 87,000 people, and they thought that it would be sustainable given that when COVID happened, we were all working from home and we had this bounce in e-commerce, and essentially they believed that they needed to build up the system, and then it comes to when society reopened and we're all gone back to working our normal lives, that it just seems that it wasn't sustainable and therefore have to cut majorly.
We've seen about other tech companies, like you say, Stripe and Twitter, responding, and I suppose the work is social media, but of course these people live and exist on social media as well. What's the reaction been like from people working in Facebook to this news, and have they been sharing details and updates?
Yeah, I think there's been more of, you know, if you could say, positive response to the job losses with the way that Meta and Facebook have handled it in comparison to Twitter.
Okay.
Obviously, Twitter last week, if you worked there, you were locked out of your email and you were still waiting to know if you were going to lose your job. So I think from the early outset, from what we know now, it seems that although it's devastating news that people are going to lose their jobs, it seems like they're dealing with it a lot better. Mark Zuckerberg has announced that, you know, there will be, I think, a 16-week redundancy package. He has said that for his American employees, it's yet to be seen what it's going to happen with Irish employees. However, there has been contact from Meta to the government and saying that we're going to comply with all our statutory regulations that applies to Irish workers. But it's devastating, and it's really, in particular, a really bad time. You know, the cost of living crisis, you know, people would assume that tech workers are paid really well, but we actually don't know who this is going to impact. And I suppose right up to Christmas, inflation hitting hard, every household hard, no matter what you pay, no matter what your salary is regarding bills. So it's just a really, really devastating blow.
And those high earning tech jobs contribute so much to the purse strings of this country. And I know there was a lot of jokes last week because of Elon Musk and the way he's acting, but these are real people whose jobs are being lost, and we just hope that there is enough movement within the industry that they can move somewhere else, because it must be devastating, terrifying.
That's it too. And I suppose, you know, the Taoiseach yesterday in particular was saying, you know, although there has been announcements from 3 tech giants this week and possibly maybe a 4th next week, there is movement there. It's an industry that's going to stay growing. And that being said, Miriam, you have to think about as well the impact that will have on local communities, or, you know, housing,
the coffee
cafes,
shop,
bars,
the
everything.
deli,
That's
let's move on to our other big story on the front of the page this morning with regard to housing, a hot topic issue as always. Target to build homes is skewed. The pilot scheme for social housing making the well, in terms of the numbers, they're not accurate in terms of targets and what we should be looking at in terms of the housing numbers.
Like, I don't think this is a major surprise to anyone, and it's actually quite frustrating, because when you're at a doorstep with the housing minister and you ask him about his Housing for All plan and do you have any scope to increase or review it, the answer has been no. And you're kind of scratching your head, because you think, well, we have over 60,000 Ukrainian refugees that have arrived in Ireland and deserve to be housed, and we also have had, as we see from the census data, our population has increased significantly, and the Housing for All plan was based on the census data from 2016. And I suppose Craig Hughes' piece in the Daily Mail today on the front page shows that internal documents state that there's going to be a 65,000 shortfall of homes by 2030.
65,000.
Yeah, so I think this, and that's from an internal memo in the Minister's own department. And I suppose, you know, we were on the back foot with COVID regarding construction. There's been increases in material costs, and the annual, I think, target is 33,000 homes every year with Housing for All, and we're just going to meet around 27,000 this year, which, in fairness to the government, it does exceed the target that they had set this year. However, it's just not going to be enough.
No, and
in 7 or 8 years, we're going to be 65,000 homes short. So it's going to have to involve and that's internal documents. So it's going to have to be a wild swing to try and compensate for that.
Completely. But keep on building buy-to-let properties. That's a great idea. Now we're going to move on to a different story. You can get in contact with any of the stories this morning. It's 0896 111 111. And this, I've been reading so much about this since yesterday. And this is Jennifer Aniston, a woman whose life is commented upon like we are doing right now since she became famous in Friends. But after years of speculation of, like, I just looked at the covers of People magazines of Jen's pregnant, Jen with twins, Jen's not having babies.
Jen split up with her exes because she didn't want to have babies.
Yeah, and it turns out that she's had a very difficult private life in relation to this.
I'm really happy she came out and did this interview. Obviously, she appeared on Allure magazine. I think it's their last edition. The pictures are phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
I raved just before we came on air.
I've actually ordered the outfit. It's due to arrive next day delivery.
Is it the Chanel one you want to get? The one with the just covering the nips? That's what we're going to get for you.
I need to grow my hair out.
We'll get you on page 3.
She looks absolutely, but beyond that, she looks absolutely fantastic.
53,
But this fascination with her and her private life, she has put paid to it. She actually said it in the interview. She said, look, people have been talking about me for ages, and after all these years, she's saying that actually she was trying to...
She was trying to conceive and have kids, and she had, gone down the IVF battle and struggle, which it can be for so many people. Obviously, it didn't work out for Jennifer Aniston, and this is all the while she was receiving, criticism in every magazine, as you said. Probably, I know, a time before social media, but could you imagine what it would have been like now? And people were accusing her of essentially being greedy, and that she was too career-driven and too selfish, and she should have children. And then I thought it was brilliant that she said as well regarding her marriage to Brad Pitt, that people thought her marriage ended because she wouldn't have kids, and she said that was an absolute lie. And it's rare we actually hear from Jennifer Aniston so that she gives such a personal interview.
So bluntly,
And I was like, but it just goes to show that you do not know what people are going through, and the judgment needs to be stopped.
Absolutely.
And she doesn't know us an explanation. She doesn't know anybody an explanation.
And I do think it's interesting for people, and I include men in this, of a certain age, and if you don't have kids, what people will say to you. It's like, well, go on, what's going on? In the bedroom, basically. And you're just like, this is none of your business. And making the judgment, when are you having the babies? When are you having the babies? I'm sure it's happened if you had those impertinent questions. 0896 111 111. Can you tell I have? Kira.
Hi, horse. Kira, thanks a million. Lovely to see you.
Thanks a million. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Lovely to have you here.
Right, so to come this morning. He's a man known for avoiding a soggy bottom. Paul Hollywood will be joining us for a chat.
Are you just going to innuendo the whole way through the
There was another one as well.
He's got another one. Plus, in the kitchen, we're going to have Pao Chicken with Jack O'Keefe. We'll see you back here very shortly.
We'll be taking the patisserie in a few minutes.
Talk to you in a minute. Hello, welcome back to the second hour of Ireland AM.
It's here. On the way, we have a visit from a Hollywood hunk. The silver-haired pastry Adonis, Paul Hollywood, will be chatting bake-off and his new cookbook with us.
Fancy a break from the everyday? We'll have a selection of destinations to take with family and friends this winter.
Send them off.
You stay at home.
I'll stay at home. Away you go. Let me know how you get on. Send me a few WhatsApps. And Jack O'Keefe is in the kitchen, and it's an Asian dish on the menu this morning. Jack, what have we got?
Oh, darling.
Oh, it's too early for this.
You've got 75 bowls there.
I know. That's what I looked at. I went, oh, what are you doing, Jack? I just love making a mess. I love a bit
What
of
are you doing?
Kung Pao Chicken. A takeaway classic. Look, it looks complicated, but trust me, it's not. It's all... I'm just awkward.
It's very clean looking.
Half of those bowls are empty.
No, that one's crooked there. So
just making him looking like it's all good. Jack, looking forward to that in just a little while. Deric is in Cork this morning ahead of the clash between Munster and South Africa. What's coming up, Deric?
Yes, guys, welcome down here to Páirc Uí Chaoimh in County Clare. Finally, a bit of a breather from all that rain we've been having, but what a special night for Cork here later on this evening. Of course, the mighty Munster taking on a South Africa select side. We'll have live coverage here on Virgin Media 2, kicking off at 6:30 later on this evening. And coming up into this hour, we're going to be catching up with former Munster and Ireland star Frankie Sheahan, and of course, three-time All-Ireland medal winner Diarmuid. He's going to be popping by for a chat as well. So that's all to come live here from Cork into the Ishlocker.
Páirc Uí Chaoimh looking glorious this morning. We'll catch up with Deric a little bit later on.
You go there for sport, right?
What, a gig, the Westlife gigs?
Westlife gig, that's what
Westlife. What, does that stuff happen there as well?
Oh, don't know.
We do texts?
We are going to do text because we were speaking earlier on to Flora Crow. You might have seen Flora over the last couple of days. She put up on Twitter that her electricity bill in her gala shop in 6 Mile Bridge in County Clare was €20,000 for 1 month.
For 2 months. It was a 2-month bill. It was 20 grand was the total on the bill,
Sorry.
10 grand a month,
there's a message here, and I think that we didn't have time to, because Flora was calling on the government to have more subsidies and everything like that. We didn't have time to get to this because it said, how is that shop owner amassed an electricity bill of 20,000? She has to look at making changes in the business if she wants to stay open. She's retrofitted the whole business. She has changed. She's changed the freezers so as that they're low energy capacity. She's done everything she possibly can. And
but you can't turn off the lights in a shop. It's a supermarket. You can't turn off the lights. You can't turn off the oven in the deli.
No.
I mean, what are you going to have? People walking down the aisle and the lights come on and they go off behind you, or on the sensors. You just can't do that in that context.
But I just think that maybe people don't realise that these are the bills that are being incurred by people because of these Because it's not because she is not being energy efficient. She's running her business. I think her old bill last year was 3,500
for the entire year,
for the 2-month period.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The last 2 months
40,000 for the entire year last year. I think 38,000.
And there you go. And you got 20 grand, 20,000 euro for 2-month bill. A more reaction on that. And this says, this is crazy. How do the electric companies expect us to pay bills that high? It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, it's not specifically the electricity companies. It's the price of energy going up. And then they're reflecting that. And then, of course, the price of bills, the price of energy being passed along to all of us through supermarkets. Electricity prices are higher. Therefore, the stuff that we buy in the supermarkets costs us more. And John says small businesses are the backbone of our economy. Well, this is along what Flora was saying. She's a local service in 6 Mile Bridge. She is the local supermarket. That's where people in the locality get their bread, get their milk, get the lotto tickets. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. If they fail, so will the whole economy. We need to keep shopping local to keep them open. And I suppose that's a fair point as well. Less online shopping, but support your local shop. But that's not going to correct the price of energy.
But we've already seen so many businesses close in what's considered rural Ireland that used to be thriving.
This was before the crisis, yeah.
And if we've got so many people that are moving out of city centres because of working from home and everything working like that, we've got to. Something has to be done to kind of help them, because this is completely outside of their control. 089 611 111. We'd love to hear from you this morning.
Coming up, he's probably the world's most famous baker.
Or the baker, the candlestick maker, or that fella.
He was the
original one.
But the current 2022's world's most famous baker.
Has to be Paul Hollywood. He's going to be joining us next. Hopefully, we'll talk to you very shortly.
Yes, the weekend. You're very welcome back, by the way. Ireland Day. It's Thursday. The weekend is nearly here. You can almost smell it. Well, it's something. I think it smells like chicken.
Like chicken tonight. Jack O'Keefe, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. What's the story?
You left peanuts over there now, and he's like, get away. I would have eaten them all.
You're mad for peanuts.
Mad for the old peanuts in the morning, especially. Jack, what are we having today?
We're having Pao Chicken, a takeaway classic.
Love it.
I know
are
there's a lot
you
of
happy?
people.
I'm delighted. I'm mad for peanuts as well.
I know, mad for the peanuts.
As long as you don't have a nut allergy, this is a delicious dish.
It's all good.
Yeah, go on. So that's later on, though. Where do we start?
So what we're going to start off with is we're going to start off marinating our chicken. Really, really simple. Kind of takeaway dish you can do at home. I know it looks complicated, right? That's just my chefy OCD. The most important thing at home when you're doing a stir fry, especially authentic stir fries, and you're trying to kind of recreate Chinese restaurant classics, is be organised. It's a very fast 5-minute dish. You just have everything in front of you, ready to go.
But then you got to do all the cleaning, Jack.
Get somebody else to do that. When you cook, you don't do that.
That's not what a dishwasher's for.
Okay, there we go. Right, okay.
As Jackie always gets out to me at home. You never rinse up before you into dishwasher. No wonder we fly through dishwashers. It's like, that's the dishwasher's job. Not
Wash
my
the
job.
dishes, yeah.
No, I don't even scrape.
You're not meant to...
You're not meant to, in terms of energy usage, you're not actually supposed to rinse before
You're not supposed to rinse.
The advice from the dishwasher...
Can I get this clip sent to me, please?
I'm not joking. You're definitely not meant to rinse.
It's a waste of energy, and that there's no need to rinse.
A waste of water as well.
Yeah.
So you're
and my energy.
You're putting it on the wrong cycle, or you're not using the right tablets or whatever.
You know what to do. This is going to start something now. 089 611 How do you dishwash?
I am a rinser as well, but I'm always told you're not supposed to rinse.
Not supposed to do it. Okay, Jack.
No, but right.
So marinating first.
Chicken thighs, diced up. I always use boneless chicken thighs. You know me inside here. I love chicken thighs. There's fat in them. It's delicious. It's tasty.
Yeah.
Breast dries out all the time. In on top of that, simple out soya sauce and sesame oil that are already mixed together. Random quantity, doesn't matter. In on top of that, some corn flour. And this is what's going to give it that kind of takeaway, crispy crunch when you're eating it. Just give it out a spoon, mix it all together. And I have a frying pan here, hot. You can use a wok if you want, or whatever you have at home. It doesn't matter, right? Mix it all in. Make sure there's no real lumps of corn flour. All around. Some neutral tasting oil, the sunflower or vegetable. Just don't use olive oil.
Why?
It's too...
One, it'll taste like olives, and it's the Mediterranean flavour, and olive oil can't go up to super high heat. It burns, and that's why your fire alarm, etc., goes off in the house.
Okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
Hot pan, chicken in. Ideally, I'd marinate that for about 10, 15 minutes. You know, but...
We're tight on time.
And that's it. That's it. The chicken, you just let that cook away. And as it's cooking, just keep tossing it. About 3 to 4 minutes until it's nice and golden.
Yeah.
And then you remove it from the pan and you just set it aside in another bowl, like I have done here with
another
a batch
bowl.
previously.
Another thing to wash.
Another thing to wash. Again, the dishwasher's there.
Open your right.
That's that one. Chicken. So I have that there pre-made already. Now, for my actual dish, once you've all this done, you have a frying pan here. we're going to start off by kind of building our stir fry.
Yeah.
Very simple. There's no veggies in it. It's just garlic and ginger.
Okay.
So garlic and ginger puree. I just did these in a blender last night, but you can use a knife if you want.
Okay.
To just chop them up.
Just chop them up.
Okay,
really
yeah,
small.
yeah.
I prefer the puree because you get a better kind of flavour from it, right?
Yeah.
That goes in.
Quite a lot.
They have a pot now of garlic and ginger puree mixed together. I used the other day for your aromatics.
Oh, really?
I tell you what, those and the frozen ones are dead handy as well.
Yeah, they are
Any
handy.
of those kind
Look,
of
even,
things, really.
like, I spend my whole day chopping onions and garlic and all that.
No.
It's nice to have a puree blitzed up.
No way to go, yeah.
Gotcha.
Hot bird's eye chilies, these little ones, right?
Okay.
If you don't have a high heat tolerance, don't use them.
So
But a Kong Pao is supposed to be hot.
as you said earlier on, Alan isn't here, so you're going hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
Oh, does he not like spicy?
Oh, God.
no.
Oh, he's a whinger, is he?
What does he like, Jack? He likes
Nothing. He definitely doesn't like
cornflakes?
mackerel anyway.
No, God. Oh, my God. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, make that nice for me. He's catered to on this show.
That's fine. I like a bit of heat anyway.
There you go.
I always text him, Alan, what do you want me to do? You know, the producers might tell you one idea and I just say, Alan, what do you want?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
One leg of lamb, no problem, Alan. Anything for you.
Anything for you. Ah, we love him.
Just saute that off until it starts to colour up a little bit.
Yeah.
Pop your chicken back in. This is really easy and really fun. Right, peanuts, pop them in. Just dry roasted peanuts, don't get the salted ones
I love a
because they'll be too
peanut in
salty.
the morning, Ray.
Sure you do.
Spring onions
Bit
that
early
I've
for
just
me.
cut into 1-inch pieces like that.
No.
Pop them in. Now, to make our stir fry sauce, we have a bowl, chili garlic paste that you get in every supermarket. So it's like a ferment. If you don't have it at home, just use sriracha. Same thing. Well, similar. Some brown sugar, just a little shaky shake of that.
Okay.
Some corn flour to make it thick and gloopy.
Is sriracha more a sauce? No, it's...
It's more of a sauce, yeah, but it has a
it's
similar
fine. It's got
flavour
the same-
profile.
okay.
Yeah. Sesame oil. Soya sauce.
Oh, can you... That smell.
It's gorgeous.
It's happening.
And some rice wine vinegar in to cut through the sweetness. Soya sauce is very salty. Sugar is very sweet, obviously, so you need to put in a bit of acidity.
Okay.
You can use distilled vinegar that you'd use in your chips, or I just like using rice wine vinegar, keeping it authentic.
Okay.
Mix it all together. Hit it into the pan. Put a splash of water in just to loosen it out a little bit.
Okay.
Have that heat up full whack. Give it a few tosses. Once it comes up to the simmer, that sauce will be thick and ready to go.
How long do you think, like, just let it boil away and then just let it thicken on its own?
Just let it thicken on its own, yeah.
And if you've kind of, I suppose sometimes, as I would be one to do, I wouldn't make it thick enough probably in the first place. You can just add more, like you used corn flour earlier on or potato or whatever you've got, potato starch, just to put that in to thicken it up.
That's all, yeah.
That's all. What do you think, Ray? Is it something that you do?
Look at the way you get that
Looks lovely.
proper...
I love a stir fry, yeah, and quite simple. The key though, Jack, is preparation. You got to have it all ready because, like you say, when the wok is hot, you got to have everything. To
Exactly. And if you're
ready to
using a
go.
real wok with a round bottom on a gas flame, you don't have time to be like, start chopping scallions, start doing this. That garlic and that ginger, if that burns, just throw away your
It's
dinner.
gone.
It's gone. Just throw it away.
And the thing is with this, it's very cost effective because all the things that you use there, you think it's kind of have in your cupboard anyway.
It's all long shelf life stuff. I know when you look at my recipe for this, there's a lot of ingredients, but they're repeated.
Yeah.
So you have the same ingredients in the marinade and the sauce and so on and so on. But the whole point is, like, I'm going to be brutally honest, I bought all this stuff new last night because I actually ran down the stocks in my own house over the weekend. And it was about €40 of little bits and pieces, right, in total. Plus some stuff for my dinner last night, so it's different. So I would say about 30-ish, right?
Yeah.
But that stuff's going to sit in the cabinet for about 4 months.
Yeah, it'll keep and you
It
can
just
use
keeps-
it. You know you have it.
We can feel it, we can hear it bubbling.
Is it ready?
We're mad to try it a bit.
Time to have
And
a
a bit
go.
of rice
Bit of rice.
to go with it.
Just a bit of long grain rice, or you can have noodles if you want. And see the way the scallions are still a little bit, they're very luminous green. I haven't cooked them down. They're not wilted to death. It's not spinach. They need to be crunchy.
You want a bit of crunch?
Exactly, yeah, to go with the peanuts. And then, are you okay with coriander?
Sorry.
Love a peanut. I'm lovely,
I
yeah.
need a cup of coffee first.
I'm good with coriander. Good with coriander.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, okay.
Oh!
That's there now.
Lovely.
There you go.
Is there a fork?
Babes.
Of course there is.
Well, let's,
Thank you, my love.
Oh my goodness. It's lovely.
Enjoy that.
Let's go.
I'm going to give this a go this weekend. I think we're trying to order in a little bit less. No more than cost of everything crisis at the moment. Try to order in a little bit less, have less takeaways.
But
So
like as I
if you
always
want
say,
a
Jack,
takeaway ourselves-
people say, I'm trying to be healthy, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to do this, trying to do that. What do I order when I eat out? You can never really truly be healthy if you're eating out.
Yeah.
Because once a chef cooks it, it's not good for
It's
you.
MSG.
Whereas that, you
do it at
can
home.
adjust the oil levels yourself, you can adjust your flavour levels yourself.
Jack O'Keefe.
Hot, spicy, sweet, sticky.
People can find us online on the Ireland AM page there if you want to get the recipe for this. This is so good. And it's got a kick. Thank you so much, Jack O'Keefe. We'll talk to you again very soon. Lots more still to come on Ireland AM. We'll talk to you in a few minutes. Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM. Are you okay?
Oh, I've got the you got the spicy
sweats.
sniffles.
You got the sweats?
Yeah, you know, no, not the sweats, but you know when you have a chili or you have a spicy dinner and you're a little sniffly afterwards? I've got that now. It was lovely, though. It was very nice.
If you need it at the moment,
Kung
Pao Chicken. A message here that just says, you've just started an argument between myself and the missus on the dishwasher. We never normally argue this early, is what Damien said. I knew I was right. This is...
Which one are you, Damien? Are you a rinser or are you throw it in dirty? Apparently, the manufacturers tell us there's no need to rinse it, throw it in and let the dishwasher
That's what it's for. You shouldn't be wasting more water. I knew I was right. I have a feeling that Damien's like, I don't rinse.
This is the dishes, by the way. It's probably worth noting. Yeah, we're talking about the dishes, not yourself.
Maybe do that. And I'm sorry for starting an argument so early in the morning between yourself and your wife.
Blame Jack. It's all Jack's fault.
Yeah, you can get in contact with us. It's 089 611 111.
Now, sniffles aside, all morning, Deric is in the Rebel County ahead of tonight's historic Munster match. Deric, over to you, sir.
Yes, right. Quite a windy start down here in Cork City this morning. And our next two guests are no strangers to the sporting world. We've got Frankie Sheahan and Diarmuid O'Sullivan. And I suppose, Diarmuid, we're here to talk about Frankie's lack of hair.
Oh, no. Just well, Deric, the wind is blowing strong today. Frankie's lucky enough. He's follically challenged, to be honest with you.
Well, come here. You've played many a game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Did you ever think you'd see a rugby match on the hallowed turf?
Absolutely not. I think... But look, as we know, society's changing, a lot of things changing in the world at the moment. So, you know what, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see, a game of such magnitude take place down the park. Obviously, without brands like Pinergy and stuff, this is impossible. So for them to come in to support it, it's great. It's a unique occasion, and hopefully Munster and South Africa can build their own kind of All Blacks Munster thing that's below Limerick, because people in Cork are starved for big sporting occasions. We love sporting occasions. We support big sporting occasions. So look, long may it continue.
40,000 tickets went in under 36 hours. Must be a record.
Yeah, again, it's just testament to the Cork support, whether it's GA, Cork City, whatever they support, even going up the road to Limerick or even out to Musgrave. Cork people are great to support. So, hopefully, again, as I said, the first of many.
And you've got your hands on the winning shield here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it stays in Cork. Yeah. It would be nice for us that they can just transport out the road to Musgrave Park after.
Absolutely. Now, Frankie, what are Munster's chances tonight?
Well, look, I don't think the expectation is really there. I mean, firstly, it's great if the Cork County Board and the GA agreed to this. You know what I mean? It is a milestone, and but it's. I don't think anyone's kind of holding their breath as to we have to win. I mean, I think it's all about going out, the performance. It's about the crowd. It's about the occasion, and there's some young guys out there, and it's just for me. It's just to see that Munster spirit. We've no right to beat this South African team. These guys are absolutely outstanding. They're monsters, they're huge, they're big and they're strong, whether it's their first, second or third team, right? But what we want to see is that Munster spirit. And we've seen in the past with the tradition, when you have a highly charged environment, whether it's Thomond Park or today, Páirc Uí Chaoimh, anything can happen. When you get that belief, you get that crowd going. So you can already feel it. I mean, my kids, everyone, they're all talking about this game. The whole of Cork, it doesn't matter what sport you're in or what your background, all roads lead to Páirc Uí Chaoimh today.
And you have 163 caps under your belt for Munster. Like, what a phenomenal record.
Asher, in today's game now, that'd be about 300, you know what I mean? 163. They're throwing out caps like confetti these days. So I do. Look, we were lucky enough to be part of, I suppose, the initial vehicle that really drove things on in Munster and the European Cup and all that side of things, and we've some great memories of that, you know what I mean? And I know we haven't had silverware in a while, but there looks like there's a new young crop coming through, and please God, now these guys can drive things on.
And right through the academy as well. It's working pretty well for the Munster team, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. No, unfortunately, it looks like we're the fourth province at the moment, but that's, testament to the other provinces, really, and that better competition around the place. But there is a good energy there. I think this is a big milestone, moving something like this to Cork. It shows that this is about all of Munster. And Limerick, in fairness, we're going to give you the hurling for a few years, right? Because we're not doing anything with the hurling. We'll take the rugby back for a small bit, right? And it's good, you know what I mean? There's a good energy. So and there's good coaches, good Indigenous coaches like Mike Prendergast, Dennis Leamy, and these guys. So I've no doubt now these guys will have some good input now in the next couple of years.
Through the Declan Kidney School of Rugby, didn't you? you?
Yeah, just over in the Mardyke. I spent 6 years in Pres Cork, PBC as some people call it. So Declan Kidney was my teacher for 6 years. I had guys like Ronan O'Gara, Peter Stringer, Mick O'Driscoll, Anthony Horgan, Brian O'Mara. All that crop kind of came through together, and we kind of joined forces then with the likes of Mick Galway and Peter Classie, who were a bit older, and Anthony Foley, of course, the Claw, who, played in that match you were just saying 30 years ago, was it today?
Yeah, they beat Australia.
They beat Australia 30 years ago, and they won, and they got beaten up in the fight, though. Yeah. I'll have you know. It's
afterwards.
It's doing the rounds in social media at the moment, actually. But that was great tradition. Again, Australia were world champions that day, and they went out, and Munster had no right to win, but they dragged Australia down to their own level, and they eventually came out winners.
And you almost took to the rugby field yourself, Diarmuid, didn't you?
Yeah, well, not as a high level as other boys played, Deric, but yeah, I had 8 years in the IL. I played 2 years with Highfield here in Cork City, and 6 years in Middleton, and had a couple of wonderful years after I retired from inter-county hurling.
Okay, so we're going to ask you to call it now. Who are you going for tonight?
Yeah,
bit of Cork, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Being Cork, you'd love to get a red victory down the park. I think growing up, you know, everything for us was red down the park, victory, win, win, win. But look, as Frankie said, this is about an occasion. This is about building something bigger than an occasion that, you know, it could go on for a while, a number of years. You might get a series out of it over the next couple of years. So, look, I think once people turn up, weather stays dry, we get a good occasion. I don't think people, as Frank, we're not concerned about the result.
You're calling it Cork.
We're calling it Cork.
It's a long-winded answer. Here, Frankie.
Yeah, I think, look, we're looking for a moral victory today. I can't see but a South African win, to be honest with you. But like once it's about, as I said, the performance, it's about the passion, it's about the drive, and that's the most important thing for us today.
Okay, man, Gurmila Mahagut there. We have a Frankie Sheahan and Diarmuid O'Sullivan shouting for South Africa here, Munster on the other side. Who knows who'll win, all to play for later on this evening. Back to you guys in the studio. Thank you, gentlemen.
I think Diarmuid's shouting for Cork, not Munster.
We've got to have a bit of faith. Munster have got this. Munster have got this in the bag. That's what I'm saying. I'm shouting now for Munster.
Oh, my God. This is... do you know what game it is?
This is a football.
Oval ball.
Oval ball. Hollywood handshake.
Do you know what? Coming up, we're looking for a Hollywood handshake. We're talking to Paul Hollywood. All things Bake Off next on Ireland AM.
Coming up. You're very welcome back. We're back with a book. And Paul Hollywood is best known as a judge on the Great British Bake Off. But before he became famous, he actually trained as a sculptor and almost became a monk. A monkey sculptor.
Monkey sculptor. We might be stretching the truth. We'll get the story.
We'll get to it in a second.
He has the golden handshake. It's like a James Bond film, but at times his comments cut deep. We're going to take a look at the man in action.
They're all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah. We didn't ask for Leaning Tower of Pisa.
You've got a burnt biscuit sent on top of quite a dark, very low vol au vent.
Pastry's overbaked. I don't agree that the ginger biscuit's burnt.
That's burnt. What do you think? I think it looks overbaked. Thank you.
Here am I trying to help you, Sandra.
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
It's that icy gaze. Like, honestly, Paul, the first time that you've been doing this for 13 years now. The first time when contestants see those blue eyes in person, are they like, oh, God, oh, God?
They normally ask me, are they contact lenses, which, of course, they're not. But, I mean, they're pretty chilled out now. I think as the series has gone on year by year, I think they know what to expect, you know what I mean? So they know what flavours I like, they know what flavours Prue likes, and I think they play to that a little bit as well.
Yeah, they're more prepared and they're ready to perform for you guys. 13 years, Paul. After all these years of Bake Off, 13 years in the show, I suppose you wouldn't attribute that success to the cakes, the bakers, or even the hosts. I suppose it's all down to you, really, isn't it?
It actually, I mean, we're the frame. I've said this before. We're the frame of the picture. The picture's always been the bakers. The bakers are always the stars, which obviously every year we have a brand new set of stars.
Yeah.
But I just think the bakers are amazing. I mean, to do what they do in the tent. I mean, I remember Matt stepping in a few years ago on a celebrity one, and he was really nervous. I mean, really nervous. And it gets to everybody, honestly. It gets to everybody, celebrities or not.
I think it's funny because during the pandemic, everyone was kind of rewatching it, and it was this big warm hug that we had as well when the series was on. We were like, thank God that they've gone into lockdown together for us. But going back to the first series, a friend of mine has just started watching it and she's like, hold on, in series 1, it was like a 4-year-old had knocked a few fairy cakes together and they'd get through to the next round. And now it's like you've got to be able to do the Leaning Tower of Pisa or the Eiffel Tower in biscuit on week 1. The standard has changed.
It has. I mean, you're going to attract different bakers. And I think, obviously, they've all learned a little bit about baking anyway in their lives. But I think bake-offs helped. And I think people have naturally got better. And we're obviously enticing the good bakers into the tent. And you can tell because the handshakes have got more. I mean, it annoys me because I have to give out more handshakes and I don't want to. But because they're more like professionals now. They're so polished when they come in.
Yeah, on the subject, I'm sure you got a lot of stick, particularly in COVID times, for the Hollywood handshake in terms of, sanitizing and too much contact. But how did the handshake begin? I mean, did you set it up that this is going to become a thing, or was it an organic creation?
I think it was just an organic thing. Sometimes someone does well, you go, well done, you've done a great job. I mean, either pat them on the back or shaking their hand, and it was as innocent as that. I think it was series 2, possibly 3, where it started. And obviously, over the years, the standards got better, and therefore the Hollywood handshake comes out a lot more. I mean, it's really weird. I've had people, big celebrities from the US, Blake Lively, who's Ryan Reynolds' partner. She did a cake on Instagram and said, if I don't get a Hollywood handshake with this, I give up. So someone contacted me. So on Instagram, I just sent an emoji of a handshake like this. And they were like, she was, oh, wow. And she repeated it and then put it out on her site. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is really bad.
It's fascinating. And I'd say, like, when you meet people in real life and they're going like, no, you got to give me some food before I give you that handshake.
Yeah, I get that all the time. I get a builder coming in. He builds the wall. He comes in to shake my hand and say, where's my cake? That's funny, but where's my cake?
I need a bit of sugar before you get the hand.
I think with this year, there has been, like, I'm sitting down and I hate cooking. I just think it looks like work. There has been more cooking on Bake Off this year, which a lot of people have been like, what's going on with that? So what was the decision behind that, Paul?
Well, I think we've always thought, I mean, if you're doing a pie, you have to cook something to go inside the pie. And so we've always done things that are anything related to something in a bakery, basically. So if it's in a bakery, it's going to be in the bake-off tent, and that's the general rule. So if you see something in a bakery, regardless where it is in the world, it will end up in the tent. So there may be an element of cooking to the baking, but yes. And things like crumpets aren't baking, but it's got yeast in and baking powder, so that's the crossover bit, Oh,
you're getting us on the yeast with the tortillas. Is that it? There's a bit of yeast, so we're going to lash in a tortilla.
Well, not in tortillas, but again, tortillas is all about flour. So it's really, if there's a relationship with flour and the product itself, then yeah, we'd certainly look at it for going into the tents for sure.
He's been asked that a few times this season. I've got a feeling with that what's going on with cooking.
We mentioned a minute ago, Paul, that you trained originally. You trained as a sculptor originally, and I suppose there would be an element of the artistry or the artistic element of these creations having to live up to your expectations on screen.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, obviously, I was manipulating clay before in art school, which I quite enjoyed, and building armatures. And you do a very similar thing now, whether it's with dough or sugar paste, and you're manipulating it and shaping it to something pretty. I remember years ago, I did a Christmas cake for a hotel I was working at, and the cake was the bed, and I did 12 mice in bed with a quilt over the top, and it was all intricate, and they put little their stockings down by the side, and painted chocolate for the floor and Santa's. So it's all very artistic, and I think the sculpting side of things has certainly helped.
Yeah. And it was that because you trained to that, and then your dad convinced you to come back into the family business because it's in the blood. But was it some monks in Rosscray that were like, "Come here, will you join up?"
I was doing some filming there it's probably nearly 20 years ago now. And I heard about Rosscray, and I went to the monastery, the Cistercian monks.
Yeah.
And the prior there, I think Kevin was there at the time. And I went to go and see how they make their bread, because they had a really old belt-driven machine to mix all the dough, and it's fascinating. So I spent a couple of days with them making bread. And the problem is, the monks are getting older, and there's no one there to replace them. And so the prior pulled me to one side. He said, "Can you come to my office?" And I said, "Yes, certainly." And he said, "Paul," he said, "I think you should become a monk." I went, "What?" There's a couple of problems with that. Fathers. The one married.
Your grand. Listen,
well done, well done for keeping it breakfast telly. Well done.
Yeah,
well done,
well done, Sarah. It's pre-watershed. The book is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I felt like munching on the pages. One of those situations where it's like, I'm never going to make any of these, but I love looking at the pictures. It's been 5 years since the last book. What inspired this one?
Well, I think during lockdown I had plenty of time. In lockdown, we did a 7-week lockdown in Bake Off when we were filming, and so I had 7 weeks of sitting there in the room at night going. Prue was writing another book. I think Matt was doing some writing for his songs, and I thought I need to do something. I'd already sort of got together a rough book, and it was a time of sitting down. I had plenty of time in the evening, and it came together really well, and I really enjoyed doing it because I was already in bake-off mode anyway, and the book just came together, and it's an update on the classics, really.
Yeah.
It's things that I like, so it's very indulgent, you know.
It's really lovely. You say that you had a lot of time in the evening because when we watch you on Bake Off, obviously Prue loves all the booze and you're like, oh God, I hate it, I hate it. But it turns out yourself and Noel Fielding lashing back the pina coladas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I love pina colada. It always feels like I'm on holiday. I think you have to be nipple deep in water. So the idea is, when you're on holiday, and I go back to Cyprus a lot, the hotel I used to work at years ago, and there's got the bar in the middle of the pool, and you go up, but you have to be nipple deep, because if it's any lower, it's just, because sometimes your pina colada will float in the water, and so if it's any higher, you're holding it up too high. So I mean, it's about that height. That's perfect for having a drink.
I'm just thinking of you, Noel Fielding, in a bath, nipple deep with your pina colada.
That's a night out.
Yes,
that's a night out.
That's what you said, Paul Hollywood. The new book is called Bake. It's out
beautiful.
now. It's gorgeous. Paul Hollywood, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
sir. Have a lovely day.
Nipple deep on Ireland AM. Good morning. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the final hour of Ireland AM on this Thursday.
If you're looking for a breakaway this winter, we'll be looking at a variety of walking trails from around the country.
Right up your street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get the steps in.
Deric is in Cork this morning. How's the weather looking for the Munster South Africa game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh this evening, Deric?
Yes, thank you very much, team. Welcome down here to the heart of Cork City here this morning. It's still a little bit damp and quite windy out there at the moment. Now, coming up into the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be catching up with the Sunday's Well Rebels. They're a mixed ability rugby team, so we're going to be heading, in fact, we're going to be racing out the road back out to Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So that's all to come in the next wee while. Live here from Cork City, right across the morning. Back to you guys in the studio.
Cheers, mate. He's got a gorgeous little curl.
He does. He's like Clark Kent.
And it's his birthday today. The little curl of the birthday. Remember, coverage of Munster and South Africa will be live on Virgin Media 2 from 6:30 this evening.
Stylist Rob Condon is with us this morning. And Rob, it's all about winter luxury in fashion today.
Yes, we're taking a look at winter looks trend. So kind of gold combinations, velvet, all of those really rich tones that are going to work for this winter, whether you've got an event coming up or whether it's simply you're heading for lunch. This is one of the looks we're going to take a look at a little later on, and it's all available from West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that, Rob. We'll talk to you in just a while. Welcome back to Ireland AM. Some text that we have here. We were talking earlier on about the story that's been making the front pages of an awful lot of papers, and that's Jennifer Aniston revealing after years of a battle with IVF. There was all these articles written about her being selfish and all about her career, that she wouldn't have a baby and men were leaving her, and it turns out she's been trying to have a baby for years and it just didn't happen for her, and she's finally said it.
Yeah, I find it must have been very, very difficult and very hard for her. How long has it been since she split up with Brad Pitt?
Oh, God.
And they were saying that then, that the relationship wouldn't work out because she was more focused on her career and she didn't want to have a baby. Imagine how hard that must have been, living not only with the difficulty of not being able to have a baby or being able to conceive, but then further that these people were making these assumptions about you all over the world in the media. And but then that she also kept it to herself, that it's only now that it's coming out. It's incredible. She looks, by the way, we've said it already, she looks absolutely stunning. Fantastic. You saw the photograph there, a series of photographs. Is it Allure?
Allure magazine. I think that's their final print magazine edition, and she's gone on the cover and she looks amazing.
You've done Allure. No, Country Living, is it?
Irish country magazine. It's the same thing.
Jennifer is on Country Living next month.
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Sarah says, I really feel for Jennifer Aniston. I've been through IVF myself, and it takes such a mental toll on you. So glad that she's spoken out about it and brought some awareness to it. That's also a good point, actually, by keeping her to herself for all these years. Of course, she's making other people aware that this is something that's going on in people's lives and we might not ever know about it.
Yeah,
Not
we
even have any
never
awareness.
know what's going on. Full admiration for Jennifer Aniston going public about her IVF. It's so incredibly hard. It's an expensive lottery ticket for an awful lot of people.
Expensive.
Not to mention what your body goes through. It's heartbreaking that she couldn't go public about it until now. And sometimes you feel that maybe she was being needled by certain areas of the media to be like, just come out and tell us what you're doing. We'll keep saying that you're trying for babies or that people are leaving you. You wonder if it was just needling, trying to get a reaction from her an awful lot of the time. Because, like, when you look at all of the magazines she was on the front, like, you can see it all over social media now. Hundreds of magazines talking about her fertility and whether she was having a baby.
More power to her, though, for owning the story now herself and saying it in her own words, in her own time, as she wanted to do it and wanted to say it.
For a Christmas calendar, Ray is going to a cosplay as Jennifer
look at
Aniston.
the plastic. Is it a plastic dress? What's the dress? The red
latex. It's a latex dress that she's got going. It's not a dress. It's like a swimsuit.
I'm going to end up using acres of that red stuff now. In my fit.
And do you know what I'll get you for Christmas? Some chafing cream. Put your leg up. Put your leg up properly.
Look, how's that?
It's not
we
quite
get some red latex
enough.
then, please.
We'll sort it out after.
Just throw a sheet of red latex over me on my way.
After the break, do you know what? We're going to get him looking at some winter style.
And do you know what? More power to me.
We'll talk to you.
Back after this.
Hello, welcome back. Now, whether you want to step out casual or glam, stylist Rob Condon is here to give us a rundown of the best looks to have you looking stylish this winter. Rob, I went really hard in the glam there, so I apologise for that.
It is very glam this morning.
Lovely. We're looking forward to that. We're going to start with our first look. Sarah is here today.
All of the looks this morning are available from West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown. So with this, we've gone with a jumper skirt combo that's perfect for this winter. We're all about kind of looks vibes this morning, and we're all glittery here.
Is that what I'm saying? Are we going to see 4 looks that are themed that could totally sort us out?
Yes, definitely.
This is making a statement, isn't it?
It is making a statement. I think it's all about the skirt. You can see just the glitter, the shine to it, but it does have a really luxurious vibe to it as well. Pleated skirt with there you can see it's going to be great for lots of different body shapes. We've done the half tuck on the jumper.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great look. Whether you're heading for lunch or you want to dress this up for a night out, you definitely could.
You can see it for Christmas Day.
It is. It's quite a Christmas Day look, definitely with that coat there. It's a 2-tone faux fur coat, so it's 2 different textures to it.
Yeah.
That's a piece that you're going to have in your wardrobe that you can mix and match, whether it's with a party dress underneath it or whether it's a jumper skirt combo like this. With the jumper there, you can see the gold stripe detailing to it. It also has a gold button detailing to it. It is quite an oversized knit as well, so if you're tucking it into a skirt, you're only going to kind of want to go with a half tuck or you'll get too much bulk with it, so just be careful if you are going with a skirt jumper combo.
It's nice with the actual gold and the silver, which sometimes you're like, oh, it looks lovely together.
Yeah, it does. It matches in really well. And again, it's all about kind of bringing a luxurious vibe to something. So with it being quite casual with the jumper, with the skirt, it is definitely luxurious. And then going with the knee-high boots with it also. With the bag then, we've brought in just a kind of neutral colour there with the quilted bag, gold chain detailing with it. So you could wear that with a clutch to dress it up as well if you wanted to.
And they are knee-high boots, are they?
They are. They're knee-high boots and they're covered in glitter from the skirt.
They're lovely.
Yeah, they're going to be great with a pair of jeans, with a skirt, a dress, and we're seeing so much knee-high boots. As well, the heel on them's not too high.
It's not bad. Sarah, love it. Happy Christmas. We'll see you in another Christmas look in a minute. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Karina is coming out next. What's the glitter going to be on this one? Oh, it's Danny.
Yes,
Danny. Hello, Danny.
This morning. First off, we have gone with, she kind of looks like a Golden Globe there with this look, an Oscar even. We've got the earrings, which are a statement pair of earrings, but it's all about that kind of masculine tailoring here. So we've gone with the masculine tailoring and the blazer, but bringing in a really feminine silhouette with the dress of it. And I think it works really well with it. The blazer, they're from New Look. They have these in various different colours, so you could bring a different colour to the look if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a really simple piece that's going to work well over this dress. The dress is available from Next, gorgeous neckline to this.
Oh, Danny.
It's all about the cutout detailing and the sleeves to this dress. It's also slit detailing to it. This is perfect for the party season.
That's €64.
Yes. really great price for that dress.
Now, I suppose I was trying on something recently that has those cutouts, and I thought I was going to be really conscious because when you don't have abs or anything, and I wasn't at all. That is a gorgeous 70s dress. You'd wear it
and it's
so
quite
much.
cleverly designed. Where the cutout is, there's a little bit of a drop waist to the elasticated waist, so it's quite clever where it is cut out, that you are still going to get coverage, but it just gives it a really stylish update to that dress.
And I just wonder, with a belt and a jumper, using it as a skirt and a pair of boots.
Yeah, you definitely could. If you wanted to layer it up, you could even go a little bit. If you went oversized with the jumper, go a little bit off the shoulder, and mount the jumper in the middle. Pair of boots, like we just saw, work really well.
That's so good. Tell me about these shoes.
These shoes, then, we're seeing so many of these shoes. They have them in various different colours. A new look. They have them in a pink as well, but the gold just works great with this dress. I think what's great about these shoes are they do have a thick heel to them, but you're going to be able to walk in them as well. You
can.
Yeah, and you can mix and match them in your wardrobe also.
Also, that has the lovely gentle slope on the heel itself, so that you aren't killing yourself with that. Then the little bag to go with it all.
Exactly, and then bringing the bag in, the black bag there, matching back in with those statement earrings also.
Absolutely, that is a great dress.
And so much you're going to be able to do with it for the party season.
And it will suit an awful lot of different sizes,
exactly,
I think.
Yeah, and because of the elasticated waistline, you're getting lots of different sizes that it's going to suit.
Gorgeous. Mara, we weren't ignoring you. I'm so sorry. Still talking about that dress. This is beautiful.
Yeah, another gorgeous look here. So we've kept it quite casual. We've gone with a nice top and jeans combo with this, but it's all about the accessories, bringing them in to make this work with this. So we've got a simple pair of black skinny jeans. They're available from Pep & Co at Deals, but it's all what we've done around those black skinny jeans, from the boots to the bag to this beautiful top here.
So I'm seeing these earrings everywhere.
Yes, they are. They're everywhere. The fringed earrings. With the bag there at €44, it's a velvet Luxe quilted bag.
We're all over the place. I know Rob's like, where are we going next? I don't know what we're looking at. Don't worry about it. We'll be grand.
With the bag there, the velvet, bringing a little bit of velvet to a look will always kind of make it a little bit more luxurious as well. So whether it's a simple top and jeans, it's going to do that.
Okay, so we'll have a look at the earrings.
Yes.
So they're everywhere.
They are. They're everywhere at the moment, and it's all about that jewel tone, fringed diamante style earring, and they just work really well with this top. But even if you went with a simple black dress, they're going to kind of just give it a stylish update with going with a statement earring.
And with, showing off a bit of cleavage with the shoes, Marwa, today, my God.
With the netted, pointed boots, these are a great pair of boots. You can see they're going great with these jeans. If you wanted to go with a leather mini skirt with it, it's going to work really well with it also. They're a great pair of boots to add to your winter wardrobe.
I swear to God, I'm going to start singing and saying ho, ho, ho and happy Christmas and everything. It's such a Christmas look. Marwa, thank you so much for that. Our final look, Sarah, is back.
Our final look. I think this would be perfect for any Christmas party, event. If you had a winter wedding, it would also be great for it. It's just a really dressy look. Quite a designer appeal to it as well. With this, you can see it's quite prairie style as well, but a little bit of a kind of modern twist on it with this dress from
What did you call that? Is it Western romance? Is that
Western romance, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It does have a little bit of a Western romance vibe. And as well, if you wanted to, if you want to make it a little bit more Western romance, you could go with a black belt in the middle, kind of to harshen it up a little bit. But we've kept it quite pretty this morning. Again, bringing velvet accessories in with that beautiful bag there. It's bringing in burgundy. Burgundy's a key colour this season.
Yeah.
And it always is for Christmas as well.
It's so good. You matched that with the lovely shoes there.
Yes, and we've matched it with these strappy sandals there with this look. But I think it just works and it makes it just that bit more luxurious as well.
They're going to be great with like your black jeans, your leathers, everything like that. They're really good.
Exactly. They're going to work. Or even the previous look we just saw, the skinny jeans. If you didn't want to go with the boots, you could go with these shoes.
Yeah.
And it would work really well.
And then Sarah's topping it off because there's a lot going on with the dress, but it can really take these earrings.
Yeah, it does. It works really well with the earrings. What I would say, if you're going with this dress, stay away from necklaces because there's a lot going on in the print of it. So I'd go with a statement earring with this look and it's always going to work.
And with that, I suppose with prairie dresses that we're seeing all the time, again, we're talking about various sizes and what people can do because it's got that waistline, so it's going to look at the smallest part of you.
Exactly, it does. It has that kind of drop waistline, so it is going to emphasise the smallest part. You could bring a belt to it as well to do that.
And as I'm saying, throw on a jumper, belt, and then you can wear it with
exactly, and you're ready to go. And they're all available right now at West End Shop Park in Blanchardstown.
Rob Condon, happy Christmas to you. We're going to be all Christmas out by the time we get to the 23rd of December. My God, lovely. Now, still to come, we're back to Cork ahead of Munster taking on South Africa later on this evening in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. We'll see you very shortly.
And actually, let's stay with Deric as excitement building in Páirc Uí Chaoimh ahead of the rugby tonight. And back in June, a rugby buzz swept across Cork for the Mixed Ability Rugby World Cup.
Absolutely, and Deric is going to tell us all about it now and meet some of the players that took part. Look at him there. Deric, take it away.
Yes, good morning to you. I'm wearing a red. Do you know what? We're hopping between Cork City. We're back now on the hallowed grounds of Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Of course, that massive match kicking off later on this evening. Of course, mighty Munster men taking on that South Africa select side. But did you know that earlier this summer, the Sunday's Well Rebels mixed ability rugby team became Rugby World Champions? And here to tell us more are Liam Maher, Gary O'Sullivan, Patrick O'Flynn and Marie Healy. And Liam, we'll start with you because you're the manager of the team. Big cohort, big congrats.
Thanks, Deric. Yeah, we're thrilled with our achievements this summer. So it was a fantastic event altogether. We hosted 1,100 players in Cork, 15 from 15 countries, played 82 games of rugby over in Musgrave Park, and it was an unbelievable event.
And you came out on top against the Vikings.
We did. We came out
Canada.
on top. We came out on top against the Oshawa Vikings. We won the final 10-5. Gary, our coach, got 52 players playing on the pitch on the day. A huge achievement for any coach.
And to win in Cork, very special,
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, tell us about mixed ability rugby for anyone watching at home who doesn't know what it is.
So mixed ability rugby, Deric, is rugby with where you have players with and without disabilities playing on the same pitch. And there's no other. The only difference is there's uncontested scrums. That is the only difference in between what the rugby we're going to see here tonight and the rugby played in the mixed ability model.
Okay.
We're really fortunate that I suppose the Rebels are going for since 2013. Now there's 7 or 8 teams coming in Ireland. I suppose after the tournament that we had, there's a real upsurgence in the mixed ability model.
And a big interest now.
Huge interest.
And Gary, of course, you're the coach. What was it like securing that win?
Relief. Probably the longest hour of rugby in my entire life, watching that game go by. So it was amazing, being honest, being involved with the lads for so long, as a player first and then taking over the mantle of doing a bit of coaching the last 2 years. It was incredible. Like I was telling people, if they'd asked me months before the World Cup would we win, I'd say no, but we're going to have a great time. And to be in that final and to have won it in front of all our friends and family, the most amazing, surreal thing. Like, for the guys to play in front of, I say there was a couple of thousand people there, filled the stand in Musgrave Park, and that's amazing. Do you know, there are senior league rugby games that don't get that level. So it was just some achievement. And
able-bodied players are allowed to play mixed ability rugby as well, aren't they?
Yes, so it's people with and without disabilities. I was a player myself with someone without a disability. I was playing with the lads for the last 7 or 8 years. So it doesn't matter whether you've played before, played for years, or you're retired and you want to come back and you want to hit a few lads again and play a bit. It's everyone can be involved. It doesn't matter what your ability or level is. Like I wouldn't be doing the kind of rugby I'm doing if it wasn't for the Rebels. So it's a massive achievement.
And your style of coaching then as well, is it very different from able-bodied rugby?
No, realistically, you kind of bring it back a couple of levels, and it's all about more how you coach it rather than the drills and exercises itself. It's about how you explain things to the guys, being able to break it down to them so that they fully understand you and they're able to get the best out of it. Then learn from a load of different coaches on my way to being a coach.
But they're still able to give each other a good clatter.
Oh, 100%. Like we have a bit of murder ball there for a few lads in the grid in the dirt. They lump
love to get stuck in. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of people who love to get stuck in, Marie, you're with the Ballincollig Trail Blazers. They're mixed ability female rugby team. And where do you play on the team? You're a hooker.
I'm a hooker / flanker.
Okay, and what does it mean to you to be able to play on the team?
Oh, geez, it means everything, you know. In June, I got to captain and lead out my team onto Musgrave pitch. It was fantastic. The amount of people that were there, it was just great. And we got to play different teams from different countries for the first time ever, which was fantastic.
Now, you're very passionate about the sport.
Oh, I am indeed, yes, I'm very passionate.
But I know you have a little bit of an issue with referees. What's that all about?
I have a major issue, but I'm trying to control it. You know, ever since the World Cup, there was this one game in particular.
Okay.
During the World Cup, where this referee, he kept giving penalties that weren't penalties against us, and I got so frustrated. Now, I didn't mean to shout it out I called him.
Everything under the sun, I'd say.
You know? It just came out. I did not mean it. But the minute I did say it, a teammate of mine, she she knew well. She was clever to say you're off the pitch before you
and
get
all
sent
in the
off.
spirit of sports,
Oh,
of course. And Páirc, you've just taken over the captaincy from Richard Philpott. And what does it mean now for you to be captain of the mixed ability rugby team?
That's great.
Yeah, good.
Challenging.
Are you enjoying playing rugby?
Yes, I am.
And where do you play now?
Winger.
Okay, but you're with the team a long time. How long are you playing?
7.
7 years. So with its inception since 2013.
Yeah.
So no pressure really on you.
No.
No. So there we are. Like Liam, as you can see, like they're absolutely delighted to be involved. Really,
Absolutely. I think you know the best part of my week is going along to training on Friday night and just seeing the guys out on the pitch and having a ball. And I suppose it's the guys who've played rugby at a good level and seeing them impart their knowledge onto fellas who don't have the same ability and just the cohesiveness, and it's not suitable for every person. You know this.
But the sport is growing.
The sport is growing.
7 teams now across the country.
Absolutely, and globally it's massive. Globally, I mean we're all, you know, because we hosted the World Cup here in Cork this year, we didn't get a tour, so all the guys are itching to get a tour. So we're hoping to go to Canada or to or further afield, Argentina maybe.
Okay, wherever the wind blows in.
For the next World
For the
Cup.
next one, and of course you're all going tonight as well.
Yeah.
With the exception of Marie. Marie, we still have to find you a ticket. Do you want to be here tonight, Marie?
I'd love to be here tonight.
So if anyone has a ticket, Marie is still looking to get into the stand. mixedabilitysports.org/Ireland if you wish to be involved. And Liam, you know what? I would hate to be standing behind you tonight. He's 6'8", ladies and gentlemen. There we have it. All right, back to you, Muireann and Tommy in studio. Thanks a million,
Tommy,
guys. For a
how are you?
I'm the new
You'll
Tommy.
take it. You'll take it.
Yeah,
I was Deric, thank you so
Nice
much
thing
for that.
anyone's ever called me.
Because I was sitting here the whole time going, how tall do you think Liam is? 6'8".
He was massive, absolutely huge. And Marie not taking any prisoners, has to be said.
But keeping it clean for breakfast TV as well. Thank you very much, Marie, for the words that you said.
She's looking for a ticket. By the way, anyone got a spare, get in touch.
Please do. We would love to be able to sort her out for that tonight. Surely someone here will. We'll try. We'll try to sort Marie out. And now, after the break, from beautiful views to exploring something new, we're taking a look at some of Ireland's best walking trails.
We're going for a walk. Let's go. You're very welcome back. Now, there are so many fascinating and gorgeous walks all across Ireland, I'm told.
And here to tell us where to go this winter is Sarah Hanrahan. Hello, Sarah. It's lovely to have you back.
Good to be back.
And I love watching all these videos, and I follow a lot of people who go on lovely walks around Ireland, and I watch them go on walks.
And they're drones. The drones. The drone shots.
See, watching is about you sit on the couch and you watch them, and you're basically done the walk.
And I'm watching them walking.
We've got to engage, though, don't we?
We do. So I might go for a decent walk that isn't just around the estate.
Do you know,
soon.
I actually heard recently that it's now the most popular activity for international and domestic tourists in Ireland is walking.
Really?
I also like that we call it walking and not like they do in America and calling it hiking. It's like, no, lads, you're going for a walk.
Yeah,
Please
fair
stop.
enough.
You're going for a walk. You're not going up Everest. OK, so we're going to start with our first walk today is the Glenbarrow Waterfall Loop. So where is this?
So this is in Slieve Bloom, and the reason why we're talking about walks today is Fáilte Ireland are really encouraging us to travel into autumn winter with their Keep Discovering campaign. Ireland is gorgeous to travel all year round, but I prefer travelling in winter because I feel like you know what you're getting. Like you can pack the shorts and sun hats and go in summer, and then it could rain for the week. So at least here you get to go on a crisp walk and then go for a cosy drink or a bit of food afterwards. So it is. You can find out loads about these walks on discoverireland.ie, and I'm just here to give you a quick synopsis of them.
Look at this.
So this is the Glenbarrow Waterfall Loop in Slieve Bloom, which is incredible. I go, well, I was going to say I go every year. I've been twice, so I feel like that's...
You're a regular.
I am a regular. So this walk is about 7 kilometres long. The waterfall itself is absolutely beautiful, and you walk through Blanket Bogland, which is unique to Ireland. It is really beautiful, and it takes about 2 hours, so it's not really taxing.
No.
It's enough. You feel good, you know, but you haven't...
You can be smug.
Yeah, you can.
Without being
it's enough.
wrecked after it. Yeah, I like that. So what else is going on with all, so you're passing things. Are you near Emo?
Oh, so this is, So if you want to make a weekend of it, I would probably stay around Portlaoise. They have a ridge of Card viewpoint, which is absolutely beautiful. There's Emo Cork Gardens as well, which is so nice. The actual building is closed at the moment, but you can go for the cafe and the townland area. And then also Mount Mellick Embroidery Museum, which will be coming up next, is really beautiful. So there's loads of things to do to make a weekend of these walks. And you can book, if you go midweek especially, there's really good deals with accommodation. And, you know, you can do these really inexpensive or free things like walks. You don't have to book them in advance, you just...
Lovely. And this is in Mount Mellick, is it?
This is Mount Mellick Embroidery Museum, yeah.
Look at isn't that beautiful?
I know.
So that is part of our Ireland's ancient East. We're all sectioned off.
Oh,
Isn't that where we are? We're going to Ireland's hidden heartlands next.
Yes.
So what's our next one?
So the Ballyhora, I really struggle with it. The Canon Sheahan looped walk in Ballyhora. Like, it apparently was named after a priest who worked in the area. I believe it was named after him. He lived in the area and he was a writer and he wrote a lot of his pieces while he was there. So that's where the name comes from.
Lovely.
Canon Sheahan. So again, this is a really beautiful walk, around 7 kilometres, and it takes about 2 hours. It's through a forest. It's kind of over, the whole area itself is over Cork, Limerick and Tipperary. This looped walk is Limerick and Cork.
Yeah.
And you can, it's about 2 hours long again, and there's wildflowers, it's through a forest, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, if you want to make a weekend of it, you could probably stay around anywhere really, anywhere within the area, but the Duna Rail Park and Townhouse Cafe.
There.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Stay in Limerick, lads. Stay at my mum's house. You're grand. She's taking all bookings. Totally fine.
I suppose when you're saying a couple of hours, you're going for a walk for a couple of hours, you need to bring the lunch or you need to bring a water with you.
It's kind of nice to make an occasion of it. I often bring a packed lunch even when I don't really need to, just because why not?
Yeah, you never know.
Yourself.
Yeah, but it's worth planning ahead for it.
It is. It's worth planning ahead, but also, you know, there are things to do around the area. If you wanted to make a weekend, if you stay in Red Charleville, there's loads of things to do. There's a cafe within Duna Rail as well that's really, really nice, and you can go to the Ballyhora mountain biking centre. So you can rent bikes and really just take on a different experience while you're there. And a lot of these things...
Look at that, amazing.
They don't have to be booked far in advance as well, which is one of the real pluses of doing these kind of activities.
I love a walk when I'm on a bike.
But they're
my favourite walks.
This is what Kim and Kanye did for their honeymoon.
There he is.
Ballyhora,
there he
the
is, the blue
cycling.
jacket. There, see at the back.
And they're doing so well as a couple now. So maybe not. We're not blaming Ballyhora at all. There's some pottery in the area as well.
There is. There's pottery workshops in Locker as well, which is, you know, it's a really nice thing to do. And again, it's not weather dependent. So you can go this time of year and you're guaranteed to be able to do it. You're not going to be affected even if it's raining.
And do you get fined if you do the ghost, oh my love, oh my darling thing at the pottery shop? We don't know.
I don't know what that is.
What is it?
The ghost film, you know, in the ghost film when you're doing the pottery bit.
The Righteous Brothers.
Sorry.
Oh my love, oh my darling.
That one.
The one where he's sitting behind her.
Patrick Swayze, yeah.
I'm sure it's been done.
I'm sure it's been done many a time, and they might want to stop it now.
Great idea though for planning with the family that, like, if it's lash and rain, we can go up and do the pottery and say, shut up and do that, that'll be in the pub. And the Locha Valla loop, am I pronouncing this is on the Wild Atlantic Way? Locha Valla?
I would say Avila, but I think it's up for debate.
Right,
so
okay.
You're probably right.
Again, it looks incredible. Absolutely, look at those.
Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. This is in the Burren National Park, which is such a gorgeous part of the country. I was actually a stay there last month, and you would almost forget how beautiful it is. It's just really stunning. There's a reason why it's such a popular tourist attraction. This loop is slightly shorter at 6 kilometres, but it takes a little bit longer because it's quite mixed terrain. So it's about 2.5 hours long to do it. It's through traditional farmland. It is absolutely stunning.
And the one thing that you can do when you're there, which we all did on school tours, certainly if you're from the west of Ireland or the Midwest, and you can do your Father Noel furlong from Father Ted, you go to the Allowee Caves.
Yes. And so the Allowee Caves and the overall Burren experience there's the Birds of Prey experience within there. I don't know if you've done it, but it's the birds wear little hats. It's very cute.
No, I haven't done that. I didn't know
I was really surprised by the little hats, but it's because they get nervous apparently. And also there's cheese making on that site, which I haven't done, but it looks unreal. I would love to do cheese making.
This is
all within the Allowee Caves
complex, right?
All the Burren experience there, yeah.
That's very handy.
There's loads
and again, in out of the rain, like, because you do need to factor that in, particularly when you're looking at taking a walking break.
Yeah, and if your walk has been rainy, it's kind of nice to have something that's you're not going to get further rained on during
and you
your
spend
walk.
the whole time arguing over which are stalagmites and which are stalactites.
And there's e-whiz bikes as well. There's a Burren bike experience, so you can go on electric bikes, and even better than cycling is an electric bike.
Oh, there you go.
You know, we're getting progressively lazier as this place goes on. We started with getting all the steps up and doing 7 kilometres of walking, and now I'm doing an electric bike. I spin on an electric bike by the end of it. I mean,
you still get to see it, you know.
You know me too well, Sarah. I suppose, do you know, you don't think of them. You see people do them on Instagram, and you see people do them on social media.
They are brilliant. Honestly, it's hard to go back to a regular bike once you've been on an electric bike. They're so good.
Right. What's the website? DiscoverIreland.ie.
DiscoverIreland.ie. You can find out loads more about these walks and all about these activities, and that's where they have the Keep Discovering campaign, and just it really is encouraging us to travel into autumn, winter, because why not? Why would we just travel in summer?
And you do it every year. So every year, 2 years.
You'll bump into Sarah.
I plan on doing it next year.
I'll be whizzing past you on the e-bike and Sarah be doing the walk.
And I'll be up in Sleep Limb.
That's going to be me next year. I'm going to be like, I do it every year and I'll have done it once and that will be it.
All great ideas. Sarah, thanks a million.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Now.
All right then, coming up, it's Martin King's go on Weekend AM. It's Martin and Katja's first morning with Elaine tomorrow.
Absolutely, I'm going to be tuned in. I can't wait to see them all together. Martin, moving from the 6 o'clock show.
God love him. He's going to be bleary-eyed.
Been there from the start, so they'll be kickstarting your day with fashion, food, and the latest from the jungle, of course.
The jungle that is Weekend AM, all that, and the celebrity jungle. All that plus the news, sport, weather, and full newspaper review that you're waking up to. Ireland AM is back in the morning from 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Absolutely, and we hope that you have an absolutely lovely weekend. Oh, Tex, sorry, we thought we were going to be. We're not going back to. We're not going back to Deric. I thought we were going back to Deric.
Oh, really? No.
No.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No. That's my bad.
I'm watching the telly.
That's my bad.
I was planning my walk in
Ballyhora. I think that we do have Deric now because it was his birthday and we made him, work. Do we have a cake for him? Happy birthday, Deric. Deric, are you still there? No, he's not there. Okay, so we'll just wish him happy birthday from the couch.
Happy birthday, Deric.
If you see
Enjoy
Deric,
your birthday drive from Cork to Dublin later on today, and stick on Martin and Katja in the morning with Elaine on Ireland AM.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Deric. Sorry, man.
Sorry that
we'll eat the cake ourselves.
We messed this up. Sorry, guys.